What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a quick recap video on the two main event fights, Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon and Magomed Ankalaev versus Jan Blachowicz. Alright, so let's not waste any time. Let's talk about that Paddy fight versus Jared Gordon. I think Paddy looked like Paddy Pimblett. His striking defense is still lacking. I think at some point in his career that's going to get him in trouble. If he goes against a striker that has a lot of accuracy and power, they're going to capitalize on his reckless striking and the openings he leaves, and they might spark him out. He's a human after all, no matter how great his chin is, and if he keeps getting tagged like that, somebody's going to turn his lights off. But some positive notes on Paddy. I mean, he's exciting. He goes for it. He has a solid ground game. He's very confident in his ground game. I think he has a damn great chin. I mean, he gets hit with big shots and doesn't even get wobbled. I think his gas tank looks pretty good. He's definitely a gamer. He's a fighter. Doesn't give up. Keeps pushing. And, you know, heart is something that you can't really teach. Paddy has an abundance of heart and self-belief. So those things alone will take him far on top of his skills. But he absolutely 100% has holes. I don't think he's ready for the elites just yet. But I think he's building up his career properly. He should be fighting the guys that he's fighting. Jared Gordon it was a good challenge. I thought Jared Gordon was doing great with that left hook. He was landing that thing all night. Once again, to Paddy's credit, man, he just ate that thing. I think he was willing to eat that left hook to land a counter shot of his own. But it just wasn't panning out. I think Jared Gordon was hip to that. Great job by Jared Gordon, changing things up, switching to grappling, wrestling, controlling Paddy Pimblett. Paddy did a good job of overall not taking big damage. But yeah, I don't know. Unanimous decision for Paddy Pimblett. Initially, I mean, honestly, just instant reaction. It didn't sit right with me. I kind of like scratched my head. I'm like, unanimous decision. I don't know. That just seems not right. I have to look at the scorecards. I mean, I don't know what the tallies were between Paddy Pimblett and Jared Gordon as far as like significant strikes, but I do know Jared Gordon was landing some pretty big significant left hooks on him. Paddy started to turn things up. Jared Gordon was slowing down at points. Paddy was teeing off, but Jared was doing a good job of blocking, deflecting. I know it kind of looked like Paddy was landing big shots. I mean, he threw some uppercuts there. But again, I think a lot of those Jared Gordon blocked or deflected. I thought it was a close fight. I mean, there's probably arguments for both of them winning. You know what? Thinking about it right now, this instant, and again, granted, I'm not looking at the scorecards. I don't know what the numbers are. It's very possible Jared Gordon actually won that fight, because I'm thinking about the big shots he landed and the grappling control. Anyway, solid fight by both guys. Props to both of them. Paddy moves on, gets the W. Jared Gordon gets the L. We'll see what happens with Paddy Pimblett's future. I mean, who's he going to be matched up with next? You can't go backwards. You got to give him somebody tougher. And he sure has holes. He has a lot of potential. He could possibly be champ one day. But there's some elites out there that I think would tear him up. Now, moving on to Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev. Another controversial decision to me. Flat out, I'm going to say I think Ankalaev edged it out. I mean, it wasn't looking good for him. He looked good early in the fight when he had his movement. He was using his boxing. He looked like he was faster than Jan Blachowicz, beating him to the punch. Pretty crisp boxing, very sharp. Blachowicz, always dangerous. Jan really doesn't look like he slowed down at all. He looks like the same old Jan Blachowicz. Very formidable opponent. I mean, all it takes is one shot with him and you're going to sleep. Magomed Ankalaev was definitely a little bit tentative due to Jan Blachowicz's power. He was cautious, fighting a smart game. Blachowicz zeroed in on Ankalaev's legs started tearing his legs up, and he was being smart. He was continuing with that. But at some point in the fight, Ankalaev, he changed strategy. So instead of like sitting on the outside trying to pick shots with his boxing, he picked up the pace, closed the distance on Jan. Jan was stepping backwards, trying to avoid Ankalaev throwing at him. And you can't really set up kicks and throw kicks going backwards. So Ankalaev smothered him against the cage, charged him, rushed him, closed the distance. And when he got Jan against the cage, clinched up, worked his grappling, which completely neutralized Jan's kicking game. And it was definitely a disparity in grappling ability. And a big factor, I think, was Jan Blachowicz just being tired. Because you could be a phenomenal grappler, but if you're tired, it's like you can't really grapple to your full ability because you just don't have it in you. And on top of that, the fatigue is distracting mentally. You're not thinking straight because you're so damn tired. So ultimately, I think Magomed Ankalaev made the great adjustments, and I think he edged that one out. And you can see by Jan Blachowicz's reaction before they read the decision, he actually waved his hand towards Ankalaev like he won. And then later on, when they were doing the interviews, Blachowicz flat out came over and said, "Give the belt to Ankalaev." That says it all. I'm going to look at the scorecards. I'm going to look at the numbers that were tallied up. Maybe on paper it's correct, a draw. But yeah, I think Ankalaev did it. I think he turned the fight around and did enough with the grappling, the wrestling, the control, and the strikes he did land. You know, when he picked up the pace, I think he edged it out. I actually think Glover Teixeira matches up well with Ankalaev. I mean, here's the thing. They might do a rematch between Blachowicz and Ankalaev. If Blachowicz has a full training camp, if Ankalaev could properly prepare for Blachowicz, we might see a different fight, maybe more definitive. But if they give Ankalaev Glover for the belt, that's going to be interesting as well. That's a good one. That's a really good one because Glover can wrestle. He's very strong. He has a very good ground game. Glover's primarily a boxer. He has good power. Ankalaev, I think, is going to be faster, but they might nullify and neutralize each other in a lot of different ways. They have kind of a similar style. I mean, differences, of course, but they're both boxing based, and they both could grind you out with clinching, getting you against the cage, getting the takedown. That's a fun fight. When you got two guys that have similar styles, it's intriguing. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section what you thought about those two fights. Who did you think won the Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon fight? And who did you think won the Blachowicz versus Ankalaev fight? Do you agree with those decisions? Do you disagree with them? Would love to read your thoughts. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Until then, everyone, please stay safe. Take care.